Hello everyone, welcome back to a new YouTube cast. My name is Kevin and today we're gonna be having a look at a game played between, in the bottom right, spawning as the blue Protoss player. It's going to be Dragon Phoenix Gaming Zest. And in the bottom left, spawning as the red Terran player playing for the beautiful Team Liquid. It is going to be Clem. And this is a game that I took out of a cheeky best of 7 that these two guys played. I thought this was a nice little game to have a look at, you know. We got Blackburn, which is, in my opinion, one of the more Terran favorite maps. But then I talked to some of the Terrans and they say, well, if you compare it to the other maps, it's not even that good. Which I'm not sure that says much about Blackburn or more about the other maps being very good for Terran. But in the new map pool, I think it is generally been accepted that, there's a lot of maps that tend to be good for Terran. Blackburn, you have this long area here where, as a toss, you need to constantly be afraid of getting dropped into the main base while trying to defend your third base. It's a very tricky balance where you kind of want to keep some units into the main base, but you can't keep too many because this is not an easily force fieldable area either. There's like 5 force fields, I think. Generally it's not the greatest map for toss. Things like Beckett, though, are probably even better for Terran. Lightshade is a map that still a lot of Terrans do tend to like as well, so I'm curious to see what's going to happen here today. As we do start with a gateway cybernetics core wall coming out of Zest. You have a cheeky SCV scout coming out of Clement Desplanches. Sending out that SCV, making sure that he sees everything, and he does see everything. He sees, okay, he has 2 gases, yep. He has a cyber core at a normal timing, and he has a Nexus coming out. This actually was a Nexus before core. This is something that Zest has been doing a lot lately again, and every single time I do want to mention that is that this is relatively greedy. He doesn't really scout, he just scouts around for proxy rexes in very close by areas and then gets a Nexus before core. This means if he would have gotten 2 rexed, proxy 2 rex over here, or over here, or over here, or anything that, if you look at the minimap right now, looks like it hasn't been scouted yet, here, whatever, Zest just straight off would have lost the game, or at least would have been in a very mediocre spot where he's gonna lose his natural for free, he's gonna get semi-contained for a little bit, probably get a bunker down the ramp. So it's just one of these strategies that is very good if you get away with it, but if you don't get away with it, it can be a little bit tricky. Now, we see Clem moving on the map with 3 Marines, he's looking for an adept. He doesn't want to fight a stalker, okay? That's the one thing he really doesn't want to fight. He just wants to fight against an adept. And that's why he moves on the map with these Marines. Give a little bit of a pause. But obviously this is a replay, so we don't get bothered by those. Clem is going to be going into what seems to me to be just a regular standard 3-rex double tech lab build. We've seen some 3-rexes with double reactor and then only getting a single tech lab upgrade. These generally suck. I think we can fairly say we don't really see them very much at the high level, and when we see them, they usually aren't that great. I mean, sure, you get a couple of extra Marines, but you're not going to get your combat shield, or you're not going to get your stim on it, so I am not a massive fan of it. If you're playing something like a tank 3-rex, so you do like an all-in low SCV count with tanks and a lot of Marines, and then maybe you get just combat shields, that I wouldn't even mind as much, but just if you're doing a Marauder Marine 3-rex build order, I would always recommend getting that stim, getting that combat shield going as well. eBay's going down pretty standard stuff. You see, because it is very barracks focused, the gas income isn't very important for Clem. He's going to stay on 1 gas. He gets a blind turret because he has absolutely no clue what his opponent has tech wise, and he's probably going to be kind of afraid of any type of potential DT drop, so he's putting in some safety measures, a couple of caveats in his build order, you could say, where it's like, hey, I don't straight up want to lose to a DT drop. I'm gonna get at least 1 turret, but I believe he even got a second one. Yeah, so he's playing extremely safe. Now this is of course gonna delay his follow-up a little bit. His factory timing is gonna be a little bit later. And it just cuts in your unit production. Those things are facts, and you can't really argue with me about those, but you can try. But now that's an argument you'll win. There's actually no battery here for Zest. Zest has done a atrocious job scouting. Now needs to pull a lot of his workers. Oh, there's a bunch of workers. I think he might have pulled his workers a little bit. No, you don't need to do that anymore, Zest. You can just pull back, yeah. You know, there's 18 workers at this point. Jeez Louise. that's painful. That's actually just real painful. I'm not sure what else to say. Now, I've seen Zest actually get back into games like this, okay? And there's 2 reasons for that. One, it is because Zest is very adept at using low gateway counts and getting a lot of units with high eco usually. So Zest is very good at getting no infrastructure, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And he really is quite good with this. So I'd be surprised if we see anything being added, like more gateways in the next minute and a half. I think we're just gonna see very high unit production in the next minute and a half. We might see some type of tech. In this case it's going to be a forge, most likely going to be for a +1 attack upgrade rather than for the armor upgrade, because right now what Zest wants to do is he wants to play around chokes. You see he's warping in a bunch of sentries as well, so attack upgrades would make a lot more sense. Clem on the other hand is like, well, that worked out pretty well the first time, let me try a second time. And here he comes across the map. This time it should work a little bit less good. I don't think we're... Ooh, Zest, be careful. Decent force field, but it's decent. No. What is this? Zest? He just walked around it. These weren't decent force. He loses 4 sentries against this. Gonna lose 5, 6, 7, 8 more probes maybe. So 6 more probes are gonna go down. 49 workers against 49 workers. So even though Zest has already lost 25 workers this game, he still is, I don't want to say kind of in it, but he is kind of in it actually. Overall units lost is in favor of Clem as well, but it does help that Zest cleared a decent amount. 1 medevac is gonna go down here, blinks back, so he gets that. He's indeed getting his +1 now. Finally we see a couple of gateways being added, so pretty late into the game, as I thought he would. I mean, there's no real use to get up to 8 gateways if you're working off of 32 workers, right? You want to get that later on, and he really focused a lot on gateway production, or producing out of the gateways rather than producing gateways. Now, there's some very interesting locations for observers here. Look at these 2 bad boys. They're seeing a lot. Zest being very forward with these stalkers, wants to shave off as many units as he can before Clem decides to move forward. Here comes a drop into the main base. Will Zest be in position? The answer is kind of. Yeah, actually, no. Almost completely in position. Now, because there is +1 and these are marauders, you're still gonna trade out okay against these stalkers. We can see Clem dropping on the low ground, and all of this is being observed by these 2 observers. I mean, these obsers really do see absolutely everything right here, and Clem's supply isn't actually that high anymore. Oh, this gets spotted as well. Zest. Hello. Blinks preemptively means he won't be able to catch this medevac with a blink. See if Clem is paying attention. He is not paying attention. He's gonna lose 3 mines for free. And slowly but surely, I have a feeling that Zest is actually kind of getting back into the game. Sure, he's still down in upgrades. His opponent is getting a Ghost Academy, but we also see a Templar Archives, a couple of cannons on the way here for Zest. And he's just moving forward again and again. This is a nice scan. Misses absolutely everything. Clem doesn't believe there's not a single observer here. This makes absolutely no sense, guys. He's like, how does he know all my movement? He must have an observer. Once again, good move out of Zest. Managed to take out a marauder. Almost gets one of the medevacs once again. Medevac count is has been taken down a notch. 4 have been taken out already. This is a very nice setup out of Zest, by the way, with these cannons. Yeah, good force fields. Way better than before. Way better than before. He's floating a cheeky 1200 minerals, 600 gas. We see a nut. Oh my god. It's like the 3rd scan that he barely misses an observer with. So once again misses the observer. He's kind of eyeing that high ground. There's a bunch of stalkers up there. I mean, the moment he goes there, he's just gonna lose at least a medevac, right? Like, Zest is in has complete vision. He completely knows what's going on here. If I was Zest, I wouldn't even attack this, because that just shows, hey, I do have an option. Oh my god. That's actually the forge scan. That's unironically the forge scan that Clem wastes on nothing. Because he's looking for these observers. And he just can't believe. You know, it's like, how is this possible? This is another mine drop? No, this is a single marine. We have our first zealot run by, and I feel like Zest is kind of getting into the zone right now. We have a couple of sentries ready. That's 4 sentries, 2 immortals. Good first EMP there coming out of Clem. Mines are moving forward, but these 3 immortals with the super battery are going to be able to do a lot of damage. Stalkers coming in from the main base as well. Storm finishes up in 2 seconds. Are we going to see any storms here? 1, 2, 3, storm! No, that's... I thought there was Templar in the prison, but no. Instead it was Immortals and Zealots. Are we gonna see a storm? No, we're not actually seeing any storm. The Zealots are coming back home. Good flank coming out of Zest, and he... I don't want to say he evens up the supply, but he's getting closer and closer every single fight he takes. Resources lost stay very, very even. Fort base is on the way. It is a gold, which I don't really like. The back area is difficult to defend. I much prefer just taking this as a line fort base, but Zest has a different opinion on that, and that is A-OK. Zest kind of wants to do counter damage, but he's so afraid of dying that he... Oh, he's actually just patrolling it. I thought he was afraid of counter damage and he wasn't sure if he wanted to go. He was like just going back and forth, but seeing that as a patrol move does make a little bit more sense. Maybe I was waiting for a potential flank with that thing. I don't think you should do this. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a waste of your storm. Not too sure about this fight here. Zest doesn't get the greatest storms, morphs this straight into an Archon as well. It's just gonna take a lot of damage. I think if Zest is not in the defensive position, he's still not in the greatest position to fight. That being said, Zest kind of tends to disagree here as he's moving forward. Archon is tanking a lot, but interesting blink forward there. He's gonna take out a couple more units, but this hasn't been the most efficient of trades. We see Zest actually falling behind in resources lost again, just as he was trading so well this entire game. This mine is gonna shoot as well. Yep, this ain't it, my friend. Armory finally finished up for Clem as well, and we see these mines in the back being hidden right now without any type of observers, which are still in the middle of the map, or more the bottom side of the map. These mines won't be taken out, and now that he gives up this position, this is why I don't like the fort base, because the moment you have to give up this position, you can't actually mine anymore here. You're just not mining from your fort base, and you can even attack it from a distance, but just denying mining probably is going to be enough. Zest wants to take this out because he knows he needs the mining from that gold base. I don't think this is going to be it, as the mines are destroying the Zealots. Stalkers are being taken out as well, and the final Immortal falls. I think Zest, at a 70 supply deficit, decides, yep, it is time to go. Taps out. GG's Clem wins this game here on Blackburn, which looked unlosable, but Zest almost made the comeback there. So big up to Zest as well for trying that. But I just think we can actually take a look at the replay. We're not in a hurry. Well, at least I'm not in a hurry. Maybe I can shove in another ad here at the end. I make this video a little longer. This fight is just not necessary. But what forces this fight to kind of be a necessity is because he decides to take this base. So the moment Clem gets position of this base with a couple of mines, you can't mine from your fort anymore. This forces Zest into a defensive position where he has no position. So far all of the fights have been in semi-chokes with static defense support. The moment we get into an open area without static defense support, that heavily favors the Terran, especially if you're fighting EMP against a mainly gateway army, right? So basically Zest, by taking this base, forces himself to take a fight into the open that he doesn't want to take, and this is truly the first fight that Zest lost in this game. Before this he was always either trading better or trading even, but this fight he just couldn't because it's in the open against someone like Clem, where he can micro infinitely back, he can micro around the mine positions. It's just going to be impossible, guys, and yeah, that's going to be it. What's not going to be impossible, however, is hitting the like button on this video. So if you haven't done that yet, now would be a great time. I hope to see you all next time for a new one, and bye bye. Nice.